Different than, we passed a bill at the very beginning of the committee meeting today. I think it was Representative Rushing. We had a bill forming a task force. I mean, this almost looks like close to the same identical bill right now.
Yeah, and let me do this. We have not actually adopted the motion, or the amendment. I don't know where that came from. We haven't adopted the amendment, so let's adopt the amendment, then we'll get on the bill. And that's unless your question is actually on the amendment, which I think we're really still talking about the bill. So do I have a motion on the amendment to adopt the amendment? All right, Representative Gonzalez moves that we adopt the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, so the amendment is adopted. Your one yes vote before was a no vote on this one. Representative Tosh, go ahead. I'm sorry, if you don't mind finishing your question on this one.
I think I've got it, but you feel free to repeat it if you want.
No.
I haven't actually read that bill, but I have had conversations about that bill. And so that task force and this really perform two separate functions based on my understanding of Representative Rushing's bill. That is to kind of review Freedom of Information Act bills that are filed during session and to kind of coalesce all of them together and review the amendments to the Freedom of Information Act as a whole for the legislature while the legislature is in session. This is really a totally separate thing. This is not to review any proposed changes to the Freedom of Information Act at all or any legislation affecting the Freedom of Information Act. It's when a citizen of Arkansas requests public records from a custodian of records in the state and the custodian denies that request. They can say, right now they have the option under the law to file a lawsuit, but not everybody has the means to go hire a lawyer. And so I'm actually hurting my personal business with this piece of legislation, right? And so they can say, I want someone other than the person who controls this record to review and whether or not it should be subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. And that request would go to this panel of 3 people who would then review the custodian's denial of that request.
All right, Representative Dotson, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.